Hey there, folks. Welcome to another round of Modern. We have Cindy's Stoodle on the left playing Esper Reanimator versus Shaka Pinto on the right playing Grinding Station. Is it Grinding Station? Jeskai Grinding Station. Jeskai Grinding Station. There's two versions, but I'm like 99.9% sure Shaka's playing Jeskai. I can't wait to be wrong. Cindy and Shaka have both been on camera before playing their respective decks. I feel like every time I put Cindy on camera, their opponent always has the Leyline of the Void in game 2. So hopefully that's not the case here today. But historically, I think that has been the case. So she's going to fetch out a Rafine's Tower, the Esper Triland. You're not Triomes. They're just lands that produce 3 colors. Why did we not keep the cycle, Watsy? Anyways, they're Triomes. If you don't know how the Esper Reanimator deck works, typically you want to put Arcana Cruelty in your graveyard and then bring it back with Persist or Unburial Rites or Priest from Modern Horizons 2 that nobody really plays anymore. But it is an option.
What's happening? It's unlocked.
I don't remember the name. It's been that long.
It's very easily unlocked.
Not that Modern Horizons 2 is that long ago, but I just haven't seen people cast that card for a while. That and I keep thinking of Sanctifier in Vac, and I really don't know why. The other thing the deck does is use Aether Mage's Touch to put cards into play. It's an instant. I think you look at the top 4 cards of your deck, and you can put a creature into play, and then at the end of your next turn, or at the end, in your next end step, you bounce it to your hand. So like what you'll do is during your end step, you'll go and cast it, find like Arcana Cruelty, put it into play, get the trigger, and then keep it around for a turn. And then it'll go back to your hand, and you use stuff like Tainted Indulgence to put it in the graveyard, then you persist it back out. So yeah, you're doing things. Meanwhile, Shaka's deck, Grinding Station. Basically, imagine if Isn't Murktide could play Urza Saga and have a combo finish. It's all the good cards in the Murktide deck, minus Murktide. With some differences, right? So, like, Urza Saga, obviously. You have Mox Amber, Underworld Breach, Grinding Station, Thassa's Oracle, and Emery Lurker of the Lock, as well as some other artifact stuff to go with Urza Saga. It's a good deck. It's potentially even a great deck. The Jeskai version plays the Fairy Time Raveler. I think that is, like, the only thing you splash white for. Just to protect your combo and also to, like, mess with your opponent's stuff. You also can do some really gross value breaching, where you can cast Underworld Breach, do a couple things that aren't the combo win condition, and then just bounce the breach to your hand with the fairy. It's gross. If you don't know how the Grinding Station combo finish works, though, however, what you'll do is you'll have a Legendary in play, Grinding Station in play. You'll cast Underworld Breach, and then you'll cast a 0 mana artifact from your deck, from your graveyard, typically Mox Amber. That way you can bring it back, tap it for mana. I guess that's the other reason you play Teferi, is that you can produce white or blue off your Mox Amber then. And sack it to the Grinding Station, mill yourself 3 cards, replay the Mox Amber. When you play the artifact, it'll untap the Grinding Station. And you just go through making mana and milling yourself until you hit Thassa's Oracle. You cast it. You win through the ETB trigger. Cindy here is going to evoke a Mole Drifter, a card that Jun can never beat because he just drew 2 cards, and it's great. I love Mole Drifter. It's an elemental, hence the evoke. And I have a copy literally sitting next to my desk in my office, and I always look at it and I'm like, man, what if I just play this with 1 of them 4 color? And then I contemplated, and I realized I have no room for it in my 80 card deck. And I get a little sad every time. Alright, Shaka's making constructs here. I got a Ledger Shredder. I wonder if Cindy has experimented with playing Ledger Shredder in a Reanimator deck. I don't know if you double spell enough to be able to trigger it, but it could be interesting because it's another way to dump Archons into the yard. I see 2. There might be an Archon plus a Persist. It's Archon, Grief, Persist. Yeah, the other thing is they play Grief. A card that I've been seeing a lot more lately because of the Rakdos Scam deck. It's interesting. We started Modern Horizons 2 format with like Grief Ephemerate being the big scary thing. There's a Springleaf Drum. Being the big scary thing, and it's kind of just like faded out of existence. That deck was just not good. Who'd have thought that the Black-White Stoneblade deck wasn't really good at 2 for 1ing itself. Or 3 for 1ing itself. Even with taking away 3 of your opponent's cards. But the Rakdos Scam deck has popped up a lot recently. It's been really good. You just get like all the other good stuff. Plus Undying Mouse makes your guy bigger, and Ragavan exists to get you tempo, so.
You just try and dodge.
Alright, attacking in here, that is a 3-3. Unless there's an artifact off camera that I don't see, but I don't believe so.
We played Doomsday in Pittsburgh.
No, I played Delver. He looked at me and goes, I was like, dodges all day. And I was like, you playing Doomsday? Yeah.
We went from 17 to 13, so either I missed a point of damage somewhere, or there is an artifact that I don't see. Which is possible. Shock is going to fetch here, get a Steam Vents. Looks like he's putting it in untapped. So going down to 16 if that's the case.
Actually, I'll play this tab.
I was thinking about putting this deck together. Because I was like, oh, you know, something fun to play that's not 4-color. Deciding to not shock in. And I was like, it's probably not too expensive for me to finish it. Box Sabers are like $40. I don't want to buy them. Just don't.
Trigger.
Uses the Springleaf Drum to produce a blue. Plays a Emery Lurker to lock on mill 4 cards here. Actually, speaking of Rakdos Scam, if you're interested, we had a video, 2 videos last week of Rakdos Scam. One of which actually against Grinding Station. It was a pretty interesting match. Cindy's going to fetch out a Witch's Cottage here, which is the black land from the Throne of Eldraine cycle of commons that do something when you have 3 or more of that type. So Cottage puts a creature from your graveyard on top of your deck. The blue one is obviously banned in Modern. Card is a little too good. And then the red one is the only other one that sees play, to my knowledge, which is the Dwarven Mine. I don't know if the green or white ones have seen any play. Alright, here comes a Grief. We're going to be able to take a look at Shaka's hand and discard a card from it. We see Grinding Station, Unholy Heat, Thassa's Oracle, Urza Saga, Odawara. Not Thassa's Oracle, that's Emery Lurker the Lock. It's a Merfolk, same thing. Is Emery a Merfolk? Oh no. I definitely have an Emery sitting on my desk over there. Because my A-Cast deck and Legacy is over there, but I don't feel like getting up to look.
Grinding station. Past you.
Okay, we're gonna untap draw. Plays Urza Saga's land for turn. It was interesting at this our weekly this week. Shaka got the buy round 2, and he was like, I don't know, maybe not annoyed by it, but he was like he was upset that he had the buy. And it's very interesting because I believe a lot of there's some of our players who are like happy to get the buy. All right, so Emery's gonna target the Grinding Station. I'm gonna play the station out. 2 mana. Play an Underworld Breach.
Okay.
Connive trigger?
Ledger Shredder, Connive Trigger. So, folks, when you get the buy at a local, how do you feel? Are you happy about it? Tell me in the comments. I feel like I'm conflicted. I feel like if I'm there because I want to play, like just play Magic, I'm upset. If I get the buy because you want to play that round, But I feel like if I'm there because I want prizing or like to earn credit or something, I'm okay with it because it's a free win. I don't know which one I would lean to more often, however. So what we're going to see here is that Mox Amber is going to get sacked infinitely, produce mana, and Grinding Station is going to untap each time until we find Thassa's Oracle. We're going to exile the whole deck. Not exile, well, basically exile the whole deck. We're going to mill the whole deck. Exile 95% of it. And get the Thassa's Oracle for the win. With Devotion to Blue being 3. Because of Oracle and Ledger Shredder. Alright, game 1 gonna go to Shaka there. Thassa's Oracle. A severely messed up magic card. There's no, like, broken deck with it in Modern. But good God, if there is. If there ever is. Not a fan.
Try it. The most I do is like on my filter. Like, alright, here's my 15 games in my original.
Bloodstained Mire pass for Cindy.
Thoughts, please concede. You get to stop playing. I get win.
I was playing against Living and I had to fair in the board. Hit him. What does that do?
Shaka's going to fetch.
I'm gonna fetch.
I imagine he's getting a shock land.
Nice.
But he might play. I think the deck plays a basic mountain. Does play basic mountain. Goes for the basic instead of the shock. Interesting.
Flood warning.
Nice.
Sydney's gonna fetch out that Triumph. My coffee's in a snowman mug today. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not one of those people who's like excited for Christmas in July. I'm very much a don't get excited for Christmas until the 24th of December when I realize that it's Christmas and I go, oh shit. I have to go to my family's. Alright, Ragavan's coming in. Hidden for 2, revealing a swamp. That's a really cool looking swamp too. I've talked about it before. I really like the customization the basics give you. It's pretty sweet. And with so many like different magic sets over the years, it's really cool seeing the different basics. I think it was in Baltimore when I was playing. One of my opponents had basics that I had never seen, and they were a bit older, but it was cool, you know. Big fan. This time, shocking into Steam Vents. Going red, blue, white off the treasure, playing a Teferi Time Raveler. Sedate in response is going to cast Tainted Indulgence. So it's going to draw 2 cards, discard a card, unless she has 7 or, I think it's 7 or more different CMCs in the yard. It's a really interesting card. It's like the closest thing we have to Faithless Looting for that deck right now. But honestly, let's just unban Faithless Looting. Dredge is like non-existent.
No, turn it. No.
How bad could it really get? Phoenix, maybe? Just ban Arclight Phoenix. That'll totally fix the issue, right?
Unmarked tree.
As soon as he's going to cast Unmarked Grave here. Going to drop an Arcana Cruelty into the yard. Arcana Cruelty, if you don't know what that says, also a messed up magic card. It is 7 mana, 6/6, flying. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, target opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker, discards a card, and loses 3 life. You gain 3 life and draw a card. I will say, I've recently found out about the planeswalker part of it. I've always just like sacrificed a creature or had nothing on the board. But my opponent in Baltimore was like, Archon? And I was like, yeah, sure. And he's like, you sacrifice your Ren? And I was like, oh. Reading the card explains the card, huh? Getting a Godless Shrine off that fetch. Prismatic Ending on the Ragavan.
I have to get a new
I wonder if there's an argument to save the prismatic ending for the Teferi. But if you're at 12, I guess you just don't want to let your opponent get more value off the Ragavan, huh?
Tormod script.
Alright, there's a Tormod script.
Sure.
Need to go red, blue, play Emery Lurker the Lock, mill 4 cards.
I will pass the game.
I very much enjoy that basic island. The like cup, bowl, water, Zendikar.
Yes.
So we have 2 Persist, a Witch's Cottage, a Solitude, and a Prismatic Ending. I think it's reasonable here to cast the Prismatic Ending on the Teferi,
Who did you pick?
and then play the Witch's Cottage.
Oh, right, you're out of draft.
Good question.
I love it.
I feel like you have to force the Tormod script to get popped here. I'm not exactly sure how you do it. Because, like, the rough part is if you target the Archon, Shaka might not pop it in response. Casting Persist will definitely get it done.
I'm not mad at it.
It's just, yes, every time.
Evoke a
Right,
solitude.
Evoke Solitude, pitching the ending, hits the Emery. Shaka will gain 1 life going to 18. I mean, this does let you Witch's Cottage,
1.
put the Solitude back on top of your deck.
Witch's Cottage. Trigger. Solitude back on top. Go.
So, like, well, not amazing, but it gives a reply, which is cool.
Tick up.
They are working on something outside my house. I don't know what or where exactly. I just hear, like,
Actually,
the intermittent sounds of construction. Which hopefully it's not leaking its way onto the microphone. The mic is very temperamental about what it wants to pick up outside of my voice. Alright, playing a Tap Sacred Foundry. There's a Ledger Shredder. Passes the turn. Both players not really doing very much. Cindy draws the... I almost said the Reanimator. Draws the Solitude that we knew about because of the Witch's Cottage. I wonder if Scam has experimented with playing Witch's Cottage. Because they're very swamp heavy. Put a Grief back on top of your deck, or like a Kroxa to activate it, or play it again. I probably could put Scam together, couldn't I? I'd have to purchase the Undying cards. I don't think my Ragavans are in anything right now. And black is like the one color that the Yorion deck hasn't cannibalized all the good cards for. Alright, Shaka's gonna fetch with a Photostrand here. Interestingly, not casting the Solitude to hit the Ledger Shredder during her turn. But could also like just want to hold it, which is reasonable. You can't cast it because of the fairy, but
That wasn't even outside information.
I mean, it's
the
just
1/3 Shredder isn't the most terrifying thing in the world.
judge. I like
Also, if she hard casts it, it doesn't kill the fairy, right? It's a 3/2. The fairy is at 4.
Maybe I have other trixies up my sleeve.
True.
You don't know.
You have to be a sorcerer speed.
Trixies.
Alright, let's try next level this shit.
2 mana, cast Underworld Breach.
Oh, okay.
Going to give everything in the graveyard escape.
Tormod script. Connive trigger.
Plays Tormod Crypt, exiling 3 cards in order to do so. Then you get a Connive trigger. I think this is going to be one of those value breach turns where we just use the fairy to bounce the Underworld Breach. So I don't believe he has anything else with the win condition available to him right now. We haven't seen a grinding station or an amber. He has a Mishra's Bauble. Going to bounce the breach. Draw a card. It would be kind of funny if he drew the grinding station there. Like, ah, so close yet so far.
Combat.
Tags in for 1. Puts into the 10. Going down to 9 to fetch.
To my turn.
Cracks the
Two
bubbles
most
up.
popular
See the
decks
card
are
that's
counter
drawn.
spells and interaction.
Setting a die on top, as a reminder. Picks up, is that another copy of Widget's Cottage? 5 mana, play Solitude, exile Shredder. Shotgun's gonna go to 18. Yeah, it looks like another copy of Cottage.
Go ahead.
Draw for bubble.
Draw from Bubble, draw for turn. It's a much more satisfying feeling with Bobble to draw 2 during your turn than to draw 1 during your opponent's turn.
What is the expressive iteration?
Expressive Iteration. And the card we're exiling is an Urza Saga, playing it as land for turn.
There's a lot. Let's put it this way. There's a lot less decks now than there used to be in terms of like
2 mana. Plays out the Honorable Breach again.
Unholy.
Plays Unholy Heat.
So
Has to exile 3 cards and pay a mana for that. But there's 1, 2, 3. Taps the Steam Vents.
check out.
Plus this is a Time Raveler. Bauble Cindy. Whenever it's worthwhile to play this, just play another Bauble. Draw another card. Or you just leave the cards in the yard for a potential follow-up breach.
I'll end my turn. So pass you, draw for bubble.
Draws an unmarked grave. Or no, that's persist. What is the other card? Looks like Prismatic Ending.
Prismatic ending.
Gives ending onto Fairy.
Response, I guess
Decides to sack for the Tormod's Crypt anyways.
Go ahead.
Just passes the turn. That Saga's gonna go to 2.
like in the last modern benefit on Thursday, I lost the other game. It was my only loss of the day, but I was playing Hard Tide, and I had
expressive iteration.
Red Blue Expressive Iteration. Top 3 of those cards. You see what we get. Iteration is such a damn good card, man. Here's the Steam Vents. Has mismatching Steam Vents art. Come on, Shaka. a Vicious Bauble.
Oh, do you want
There's a Mox
accuracy
Amber.
too? I still have them.
If I roll fine, you're all fine. If I didn't,
Actually, no, I don't care. I lied. I don't care.
I have them very easily.
There's a
All right,
Emery. Yep.
fine. Sure.
I mean, if you don't want them, I don't really want to reach into my bag.
It doesn't matter that
I
much.
just want my friend Christian to be happy. My friend Christian did me a favor. I want to be in his side.
You can keep.
Plays he taps
Fair
defense
gift.
as a land for turn. Is able to make a construct during Cindy's turn. Cindy does pick up a Mole Drifter though. I wonder if there's an argument to just tap 5, play the Mole Drifter. Or you could evoke the Mole Drifter, draw 2, persist the Mole Drifter, draw 2 more cards.
You really started some discourse. Man.
Probably a better play line than just tapping 5, but I could be wrong.
I'm gonna evoke a Moldrifter.
Drift away.
Draws another persist.
Drawing cards.
And an Archon, it looks like.
Drawing cards are great. Dude, if I'm writing a Mole Drifter, name me something better than Magic.
That's why I want to play one Mole Drifter in my first.
5 mana, draw 4.
I'm waiting
Not
for
bad.
To do it.
You're allowed to. I
It's an
wouldn't recommend
elemental
it.
too.
I'm waiting for my.
Again, insert joke of John can't beat it.
Too. They used to when the elementals like first like.
It was like literally
made a big
elemental.
splash. It played Mole Drifter.
Persist targeting
Persist.
Moldrifter.
Drawn 2 cards.
Is nobody paying attention to the value that's being seen here? Yeah.
Picks up a Mole Drifter.
If I need to practice.
And a card I cannot make out.
Yeah, alright, I'll try to
And
reschedule
I'll
for
play a
another time.
Witch's Cottage with the targets.
You do Witch's Cottage with no targets. Pass the turn.
Sure.
Make a construct that is a 3/3. The artifact lands are still legal.
Bobble you. Draw 4 bobble.
So another question why I don't put this deck together to play it. Mox Amber's like $40.
Commander.
Me and
I'll play Tormod's Crypt.
Emery targets a Tormod's Crypt.
Oh,
A thumbs up from Cindy.
oh,
yeah, sorry. Whoops.
yeah, that's
We forgot to resolve our trigger. Let's quick fix on that one. Makes a construct. Goes to get an artifact from the deck. Remember, folks, slide does trigger at the start of your main phase, so it's technically the first thing you have to do. You can tap Emery in response to target an artifact that you want to cast from the yard, but goes and gets a Mishra's Bauble. Or no, the box. Gets a card. I think it's the Bauble.
Expressive iteration.
2 mana expressive iteration.
the only deck that I haven't built.
At this rate, those basics are designated iteration casters.
Autumn Exile. Combat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Alright, decides to crack into the construct for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And then
Locks the Mole Drifter.
play a grinding station.
Plays on a grinding station.
It feels like it just generates good beats in Magic.
Guess I'll
Lots of things on Shaka's board. A Bauble Cindy.
bobble that one.
Draws for turn.
No, I don't mind the Rhinoceros deck as much because that's
Grief?
way more.
4 mana cast Grief. I think there's an argument to have cast Persist targeting the Mole Drifter first to see if you can force Shaka to
the Underworld Breach.
snap off the Tormod Crypt.
Pretty positive.
Takes the Breach from hand. Constructs are still huge, which is the issue.
Sure.
Because cast Charismatic getting on the grinding station gets rid of that.
Oh god. I was like, something happened. More stun lock.
And is it just in a tricky spot? Because like if she hits the constructs and not the grinding station, Shaka has a chance to top deck Underworld Breach. So there's 2 left in the deck. But he has seen a good portion of his deck, so.
Destroy each non-land permanent. Exile Reanimator.
Play Bobble in memory.
Exile the Silo unit next turn.
Alright, plays a bobble off of Emery.
Combat.
Imagine we're just gonna go to combat.
Deals damage with a +1/+1.
Oh, block.
Attacking in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
When it deals 10 damage in a turn. 10 damage in a turn to a player.
5, 10, 12 damage.
Can I cast it?
Alright. Grief blocks the construct, takes 7, goes to 2.
I have
Ragavan
to
reveals
treasure.
You make another
an Arcana Cruelty.
Oh my god. Where's my spring leaf drawn?
I imagine there's some discussion here about wanting to cast the Archon.
Oh,
You need a spring leaf drone.
oh man.
And an untapped creature, actually.
There's only one block there.
Use
Huh?
a
It's
black
two.
mana source off of being able to cast it.
Archon's double black.
Oh, sure. Yep. I would think it's triple black.
That
It should be, probably.
No, never. Should be one black.
You know what I
so
recently
cast.
found out? That card also says Sapphire the Planeswalker. I
Yeah.
found that out at Baltimore. I've
Creature
only
or
assigned creatures to it.
Usually it's not correct if you have the option.
Yeah, well, they're like, you got to play it, and I was like, oh shit. You're like, you're red. And I was like,
Cast you
what?
on your upkeep. I will bobble
I'm
you.
gonna untap and draw.
I don't like
Reveals the
that.
bobble.
I mean,
Is a watery grave. Is unfortunately a land short of being able to cast her own Archon. And the land that she has in hand will kill her.
yeah.
Remember that time I almost cast an Archon off of Ragavan?
I've had it happen. It's
Oh.
sad.
Ugh.
Um,
I'd be petty and I just scoop before they can do it, so that.
I've gotten
I've
completely
literally
shut down
bolted
by
myself
people
in
casting
response to that
Great
type of stuff.
Creator off of a Ragavan hit.
yeah, you got it.
Alright.
I'm just
You
dead.
could have drawn to. You could have. There's
Oh,
that
man.
world.
Right?
Oh.
And Cindy concedes.
You
I think we're just seeing what the Mole Drifter would have drawn if it was cast.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And then I draw.
Alright,
Yeah,
folks.
that was the-
Shaka's gonna take a 2-0 with Jeskai Grinding Station
Draw
and
to-
over
then what it-
Esper Reanimator. Thank you for watching, folks, and have a great rest of your day.
No, it was tainted. What? You drew. I mean, you needed to draw tainted.
Oh yeah.